Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining the Julie Chan Show, where passion meets purpose. On today's show, we are celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Princess Kate, and I still call her Kate Middleton, and Prince William. The Cambridges are a lovely family, and we have some lovely guests here to celebrate today. We have Sarah, the Royal Watcher, who has over 50,000 followers on Instagram. We have Rachel Fall here, who runs a blog, The Joy Worth Having, and she is a huge researcher and follows everything about the royal family. Marlise Boland of the Anglophile Channel, and the Andrew Morton, royal biographer, and he just released his latest book. Andrew Morton and Marlise Boland were at the royal wedding 10 years ago. Andrew, tell us what that day was like. What do you remember most?
I think what struck me the most about it was a very family and quite intimate affair, even though it was held at Westminster Abbey. And it reminded you that obviously the last time William and Harry were there was for the funeral of their mother, a very somber occasion. This time it was quite joyous. It was a lot of fun. And I mean, for me, one of the great pictures of all time was William and Catherine driving away down the mile in a vintage Aston Martin, loaned by his father.
I have that picture right here, as a matter of fact. Oh no, it's not on that one. Oops, I thought it was right here. Oh well, I lost it. I just had it. Yeah, this is the one you're talking about, right?
Yeah, there's also a side view as well of them, and it looked so glamorous, so fun. It was kind of Ruritanian in a way, with all the red and blue and black uniforms that were there, and the mad hats that the Eugenie and Beatrice wore. Of course, rear of the year with Kate's sister Pippa, in her looking very super glamorous. I mean, I was there for a few days during the whole build-up, because there was a kind of a media tent city built upon Green Park. So I was doing lots of interviews there. And then I had to finish off a book which I'd written about them. And I was actually down there early, and then got the tube back to my publishers, the subway back to my publishers, and wrote 2,000 additional words for this book. William and Kate, their story. And we brought the book out in record time. I think it was on the shelves, the wedding was a Saturday. It was on the shelves on the Monday or the Tuesday. So it was, we've done it before, and it was a lot of fun doing it. And it was a fun day.
You had a lot going on. You had to take in the entire wedding as well as get this book finished. What excitement for you to be a part of that. I am going to go ahead and let the rest of our guests, I'm going to just interview you for a second. Andrew, you have had such a long career in writing many biographies, but many focusing on the royal family. What is your passion about the royal family? And growing up in England, did you always have this interest in the royal family?
Well, growing up in England, I had zero interest in the royal family, quite frankly, as a teenager. And in fact, when Di and Charles got married in 1981, I went on a squash course at a university to hone my skills on the squash court, to get away from all the hullabaloo, because I wasn't that interested. Within a year, I was there writing about the royal family for a British tabloid newspaper. That's how I started. And but obviously you understand the royal family the more you deal with it, and you make friends, you make contacts. But more than that, you see that the history of the royal family is also the history of the nation. The waypoints of the family often indicate the waypoints in the nation. I mean, a classic example is in my latest book, Elizabeth and Margaret, the lives of the Windsor sisters. Divorce has been probably an overarching theme of the Queen's reign, and three of her four children all divorced. We had the abdication because of divorce. Princess Margaret got divorced, first royal divorce in 400 years. So that's been a characteristic of the reign, and it informs the way that society's changed. So that's what I find that interesting. Plus, you get lots. There's some real characters in the royal family to write about.
Yes, that's right. And as a college student, you had a deep interest in history, really, right?
Yeah, I did a semester on aristocracies and elites around the world, which I found fascinating. And so I've always had an intellectual interest in that.
Right, exactly. And so what has been sort of the most exciting experience for you in the research you've done, in, being in the presence of the royal family, attending the different royal weddings?
Well, there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that my book, Diana, Her True Story, was the most thrilling editorial experience of my life, which will never, ever be repeated, because here we have the most glamorous, talked about, photographed woman in the world secretly collaborating with a man she doesn't know that well, myself, to bring out this blockbuster of a book which shocked and shamed the royal family.
And when that came about for you, I mean, you had worked in tabloid journalism for years, you were moving on in your career, and how did that opportunity come about for you?
Well, I knew friends of Diana. Diana liked some of the stuff I'd written. It was sympathetic to her. And it's funny, how history repeats itself. I mean, Diana kind of liked me because I was writing positive, sympathetic stories about her. We'd met at cocktail parties and so on. And it's interesting that Meghan Markle made the same comments about feeling, that the media was against her, and she didn't really have an ally. So she should have just phoned me.
Well, you did get to speak with others who knew Meghan closely, and that is how the Meghan Markle biography came about also, right?
That's right, yeah. I mean, Pasadena is Meghan Markle central. We've got the Rose Tree Cottage where she learned to drink tea. Just down the road is her old boyfriend. La Cañada, you've got where she appeared in as Jocasta in Oedipus Rex. She was a homecoming queen. I mean, this is really, her story is a story of a local girl made good. And when I say local, I mean local to here.
Yes, right here. And the stars definitely aligned for you being from England and then coming to Southern California for other biographies you were writing about American celebrities, and then falling in love with somebody right here in Pasadena.
Yeah, it's interesting. I went out for dinner at the now defunct Palm on Santa Monica Boulevard, and with some friends, and I've met this girl, Carolyn, who knocked me off my feet, and now it was her birthday at the weekend, so we had a party up in Santa Barbara, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
and I spend some of the time in Pasadena and some of the time in London, and thankfully we've been in Pasadena for the last few months because of London's been a dreary, sad place with COVID.
Yes. Truly incredible how, you found this passion of writing. You put together the journalism, the writing, the royals, all of your skills together. What is it about passion that you realize really drives purpose in life?
Well, for me, it's tracking down stories. That's what gives me the thrill. It's going down the rabbit hole and on the internet or in a library and just finding some nuggets which, really illuminate a story. I mean, for example, when I was writing a book, Wallace in Love, about Wallace Simpson, I ended up in the warehouse of Boston Public Library at the edge of town. And I discovered, after rummaging through 165 boxes, a box of letters, pictures and so on of the Duke and Duchess of Windsor, which really shape changed the way that we see the Windsors, and that for me, that was a great thrill. That was like finding Aladdin's cave.
Yeah, I bet. That's incredible. I just posted this. Christine Webb writes, I'm wearing my fascinator hat for this panel discussion. Happy 10th anniversary to Prince William and the Duchess of Cambridge. It's been 10 years, Andrew, and I know that, there's been a lot of, in the beginning, there were doubts about who Kate Middleton was. She was called Lady Katie for, a long time. She's now lady in waiting to be the Queen of England. After watching her over these 10 years and being so close to the royal family and doing so much research and knowing all that you know, what are your thoughts on Kate now?
Well, Kate was quite a shy person, not especially extrovert, and she's someone who has slowly but surely grown into the role. And I think that her family deserve a lot of credit because they've supported her in a way that other families haven't been able to support other entrants into the royal family. So, and William's acknowledged that. I mean, he calls Michael Middleton Dad from time to time and he really enjoyed that homely family life created by Carolyn and Michael Middleton and the siblings. So she's been sustained by that. She's had 3 very difficult pregnancies. She's really taken on a big job of being a mother, of being a royal princess, of being the future queen. And it struck me just the other day, watching them walking down the aisle at Westminster Abbey, where they visited a vaccination site, just how Kate had kind of grown into the role of being the future queen. And they looked every inch the future king and queen. They reminded me a bit of Prince Felipe and Queen Letizia, King Felipe and Queen Letizia of Spain. People in their approaching their middle years, but still vigorous and full of energy.
Yes, they are just a beautiful couple. Their 3 children are adorable. And I think we all wish them well and excited to see them as they just keep doing all that they do. Andrew, it was really wonderful to be here with you today. I know that you have to step out and get to your next book engagement and love your new book. And I look forward to seeing you again soon. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Julie Chan Show and sharing your passion. Have a good day.
Julie, and good luck with the show. Thanks
very much
for inviting me. Take care. Bye-bye.
Hello, Sarah, the Royal Watcher.
How are you, Julie?
So good. And I just love your Instagram page and that you truly light yourself up and your passion drives the purpose of your Instagram page. How long have you been running this page with nearly 50,000 followers? Right?
I have to correct you just because I only have 43.2 thousand followers.
That is over 50 in my book.
But I've been running it for almost 5 years, and it's a hobby. I remember when you had asked me to be on here, I was like, I just have an Instagram page. I don't have a website or anything like that. It started off as a website, and then I realized that a website is just too much to run between having a full-time job and kids and everything else. It's just a really fun hobby, and more than that, it's a community. I really feel like that because as an American, there's a lot of people that don't really care about the royals here. There's a lot of people that do, but for the most part, they don't. My family thinks I'm crazy and everything else. So,
my whole town thinks I'm crazy.
So finding a community of like-minded people where, you can talk to about this stuff that actually care. I mean, I have people that message me and say, can I just talk to you about this? Because my husband doesn't want to hear about this anymore. It's just, I think it's the greatest community ever and again, like-minded people to share my passion with. And it's just something fun to do. You don't take it too seriously. And
And
Yeah.
isn't it amazing, though, that in 5 years, you have 42,000 followers, over 42,000. I mean, that is a lot of followers. That is a huge community that you have built with a hobby and a passion that you just love the royal family.
Yeah, I think mainly because I stay true to myself. I think most of the people that follow me are like-minded individuals. I mean, there's some accounts that have hundreds of thousands of followers. I like to just keep it with just with my like-minded people that are interested in the royal family. And I love sharing, I especially love sharing royals that people may not know of. And it really forces you to go down that rabbit hole because there's so many people are focused on 4 people, and you know who those 4 people are.
Yes, they're right here.
My Instagram like little portrait, I don't know what you call it, is of Queen Mary. Queen Mary is my favorite. And there's so many different royals, for royals past and present, that are just so interesting. And I love sharing that with them. And I hate saying educating. I don't know math and all that stuff, but I can educate on the royals, and I learn new things about myself.
Yes. So do you read about them often? Do you read about everyone that you post about?
Yes, mainly through the internet and through Googles and everything else. Is some books, like I read The Quest for Queen Mary and her biography, every Diana book. I'm a Diana, love her, Margaret and all that. But it's mainly online and blogs, and it's amazing the information you can find online.
So you started this page 5 years ago, and Prince William and Kate got married 10 years ago. Did you watch the royal wedding?
I did. And I keep saying, if social media was not big when they got married 10 years ago, I think this would have exploded. But yes, I did. I woke up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I set my alarm. And at the time I had a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old. And I just prayed that they stayed asleep so that I could get through.
Sarah, you could have been at my party. I also had a 5-year-old, a 3-year-old, and a 1-year-old. And it was the middle of the night, and you're in New York. I'm in Los Angeles.
You're far behind.
And yes. And so I had TV crews here all night long. They came at 11 p.m. We had a live viewing party. About 40 women came, many of which I did not know. I'm not sure I even knew half of them. I've gotten to know all of them over the years, but at the time didn't know all of them. And we hosted an all-night party. So yes,
wow, that's amazing.
Feeling waking up in the middle of the night.
I snuck downstairs at 4 o'clock in the morning. I sat on the couch in the dark with my scone. I did have a scone. I went the night before to get one, and I made some tea, and I really just enjoyed it. And what's great about not really social media being that big was that I really just concentrated on my television. I wasn't online trying to post or anything.
Doing multiple things, right?
Yeah, and
it wasn't it all in. What was your favorite moment of the royal wedding?
I always say this is my favorite moment when Catherine gets to the altar with her dad, and William leans, my camera's opposite, and William leans in and says, "So much for this being a small family affair," and they start laughing. That's my favorite moment from the whole wedding. And just when they're leaving the church, just seeing him happy, especially somebody who, I was alive during the Diana years and I admire her, and just seeing that he was happy and he was married and now he's had a family and that he's okay. It was just heartwarming. But that was my favorite moment when they got to the altar.
Yes, just seeing their moments of such connection, right? So special. Yeah. And nowadays, what has been your favorite moment, picture,
anything to do with anything to do with the Cambridge kids is my favorite moment. Anything.
They're adorable, aren't they?
I think my favorite was when they did with David Attenborough, and the kids each asked a little question for him. I just love seeing that, and I know we're going to see them more and more as they, grow up.
Yeah.
But any moment with them, and it's just my favorite.
So much fun. I love, love, love your Instagram page. And you just are a true example of, following a passion, a hobby that lights you up and lights so many other people up. So congratulations to
Thank
you
you
on
very
following
much.
your heart and being so authentic.
Thank
We
you.
are going to go on to Rachel Ball now. Rachel,
Hi,
so
Julie.
good to be with you.
It's so fun to be here. Thank you for including me today.
Of course, you and I connected the first time we met. You said, "Why do you have all these mugs in your house? You must be a royal fanatic." And you told me all about how much you were a royal fanatic. And unfortunately, we weren't together that night of the wedding. We didn't know each other yet.
Not at that point, but you and I have become great friends over the years, and you're one of the people in my life that I can share this fascination with, and not have anyone think I'm crazy. But but thank you.
Yeah, and it's so much fun, right? I mean, talk about your passion and your purpose, especially with the blog that you run, Joy Worth Having.
Well, I've always believed that our lives have many different chapters, right? And there are different things in our lives that give us joy, whether it's your family or your work, or your hobbies. And one of my big hobbies since I was a little kid, what has been following the royal family. And it just is something that has always been an interest of mine.
And why? What was it about them since you were really young? Because it wasn't that way for me. I didn't have an interest until Kate came on board. A commoner turned royal was completely fascinating to me.
Well, for me, it started when I was about 8 years old. I'm not going to date myself, but my mom let me watch this TV series about Henry VIII, starring Keith Mitchell, and I fell in love with it. At first it was about the clothes, and it was about the titles, and that somebody was a king or a queen. Right. And as I got older, I fell in love with the history. Mm-hmm. And this is really the British royal family. It's an ongoing story. You become invested, what's come before, what's happening now, and you want to see what's going to happen in the future. And you come to care about them. I've never really met them. I've been next to the Queen, believe it or not.
You have. Tell us about being next to the Queen. How did you get that opportunity?
Well, it was on a trip to London. It was probably my second trip to London many years ago, and we were finishing dinner and walking across Buckingham Palace. I saw all these people gathering up at the front, and I was asking what's happening, and they said the Queen's coming out. And this was several years. This is back in the 1990s, before security is what it is now. And I had found my way to the front of the gate there at Buckingham Palace. Of course. And the Queen and Philip came out for a ceremony. I think it was VJ Day that day, and they were 3 feet from me on the other side of the fence. And, I don't think that would happen today, unless you were at a special event with them. And so, of course, I have those pictures I have to dig up, but, that was a thrill for me just to see them up close like that. And
yeah, very thrilling to see that they're really human and that they walk and they're right there. I remember a few years ago going to England and being at Windsor Castle, and I saw them walk in and come out of St. George's Chapel for Easter service, and it was quite exhilarating. It's pretty amazing to see them up close and personal, isn't it?
Yeah. But it's just an extension of history, right? They can. We know their story going back centuries, this one family. Yeah. And, you are invested. You want to see what's going to happen next.
So I take it you also have an obsession with watching The Crown?
I do. And, I want to tell people, especially from my perspective, because I have read so much about them, I want to remind people that is fiction. I think I think it's wonderful storytelling. I think the writing is amazing, but they do take certain liberties, but it is fun to watch.
That is so much fun. Now, do you drink tea and have scones when you watch The Crown?
I do. Julie, I do.
Because that is part of being passionate, right? It's being
right.
all in.
It's the experience, right?
Yeah. It's feeling like you're sitting with the Queen having tea.
That is right.
So much fun to be with you, Rachel. Thank you.
Julie, it's always fun. Thank you.
I'll bring you back in just a minute.
Right.
Hello, Marlise.
Hello, Julie.
Marlise Boland, the Anglophile Channel. You and I met many years ago through our passion for you. It's, I think, things all British. For me, it's the royal family specifically.
Yes. We met when I cast you in Stories from the Anglophiles for the Anglophile Channel, and you got to share your passion about Kate Middleton and the royal wedding.
That was so much fun to just watch you develop that channel, and over the years, all throughout social media, and you've grown so much. You've been at pre-Oscar awards with the British consulate. You go back to England. You were at the royal wedding of Prince Harry and Meghan, right?
Yes.
You were there on behalf of a news outlet, I believe.
Yes, the Anglophile Channel, but I got to cover it, or I got to be a royal commentator for a variety of Sky News, BBC, ABC. So it was a really exciting event. And when you talk about William and Kate's wedding, which I wasn't at because that was actually pre-Anglophile Channel, but the Anglophile Channel was sort of born from that inspiring wedding, the fact that the Olympics were there in 2012 and that the Queen had just had her big jubilee. And so I knew that all eyes were on Britain, and I was thrilled to find out that there were people that shared this Anglophile passion as I did. So that's when I decided we've got to create an Anglophile channel.
And I mean, you were just such a true representation of, you followed your heart, you had this interest, you were fascinated by all things royal and British, and you built this Anglophile channel. You cast women to be a part of it, and you found women of all walks of life with different fascinations with different parts of England and the monarchy and all kinds of different things, British shows, music, and everything came together, and all of these people follow you on this journey now of what you're creating in the world. It's incredible. I love it.
It's exciting, and amongst those women that we cast in that original web series, Stories from the Anglophiles, was Elise Ashton, who then became a significant part of our team. She co-hosts, a lot of the recap shows with me. She's been on the red carpet with me. She's gone to all these film premieres and awards events with us. So she's become an ingrained part of the Anglophile Channel team. And we met her when we cast her in Stories from the Anglophiles.
Right. And when you originally created the Anglophile Channel, actually, I believe it started as Stories of the Anglophiles, and it morphed into the channel, right?
Yes, it was originally just a web series, and it really was an idea of a series that we were going to pitch around town, and then we just decided to produce it ourselves. And we had so much fun because we went to England to shoot some B-roll and get interviews over there for this series. And we had so much fun doing it. And like I said, finding out that there was this worldwide interest, all these Anglophiles from, every walk of life from all over the globe that had a passion and obsession for Britain and its history. So that's when I said, we've got to create a whole channel. And in that channel, we're going to do arts and culture pieces and pop culture pieces. And, and so that's how it was born, just from the success of that web series. And then finding out that there was just a worldwide interest for all things Britannia.
Absolutely incredible. I just love how you followed your passion. You kept moving forward. And by the way, you and I shared an amazing experience in England where I bought this hat.
I was going to say, I recognize that hat.
Remember sitting for hours. Well, actually, I sat there for hours. You left me and you came back and you said you still haven't chosen one.
Yeah.
I think it may have actually been days.
It was an amazing trip because of your connection with Catherine, Duchess of Cambridge's charity, one of the charities that she's royal patron of, invited you to this really special event, the launching of a new Princess Cruise Line ship that she was going to be godmother of. And you were able to bring a guest, which was me. So it was just the most exciting time that we got to go to the launching of the christening of this cruise ship and see Kate Middleton, who was pregnant with Prince George at the time, about to give birth. In fact, it was her last
Dalmatian coat, remember?
Yes, she was beautiful. And we were just so close. Remember where they sat us so close to her and watching her hit the champagne against the ship and christen it. So that was a really exciting time.
Yes, it was. And that was because you and I followed our passion. I threw an insane party. You wanted to cast me because I was that crazy. And because I have stand-up cardboards of them. And
the audience loved you. You loved your enthusiasm, loved your passion, loved that you had every news outlet at your home the night of the royal wedding. And then I love the story of you then, paying God knows how much for the tickets to go to the charity polo event with William and Kate.
A few months later on their American tour. That was very, very exciting. Yes. So yes, absolutely. You and I just have so many connections thanks to our passion and purpose of having tea with Kate one day very soon.
Yes.
That day is coming the next time we go to England to buy our new fascinators to have tea with her.
We need new fascinators.
I'm going to bring everyone else back in now. Ladies, it was so lovely to be with you today on the Julie Chan Show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. This is where passion meets purpose. And I love learning stories about all of you, just lighting yourselves up with your joy of the royal family. I can't wait until we all tour England together and have tea with Kate. That day is coming very soon because when you're as passionate as we are, how could it not? Love you all very much. Thank you to all of our viewers. Purpose. Have a good day, everyone.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.